These are extreme cases. Canada and the Netherlands are extreme. And so is that just what's behind it? The Netherlands, you talk about the culture, how they're like, oh, you had your run, it's over, that's that. Is that how the Canadians are too?
Well, to some extent. I mean, it is actually quite extraordinary that in Canada, and I've written about medical assistance in dying in Canada. I wrote a story for the Free Press back in 2022. Again, I wish I were making this up, but it's actually easier to get assisted dying and euthanasia in Canada than it is to find a family doctor where you can be on a wait list for years. It's essentially what is happening in Canada and in the Netherlands to some extent. I would argue that it's actually easier to get euthanasia and assisted dying in Canada than it is in the Netherlands. The Netherlands still, you have to go through a rigorous process before you're approved. In Canada, just when I was working on the story, I spoke to a 21-year-old young man who was approved to die. He was days from being euthanized by his doctor, and his medical condition was that he had type 1 diabetes, and he had gone blind in one eye because of his diabetes. And he just didn't want to live anymore. He was only 21. And if not for his mother discovering that his doctor had approved, his death and he was going to die, she had a week to stop him from dying. And she called the doctor, recorded a conversation with him, exposed him on social media. And then the doctor eventually had to withdraw from the case. And it's, I've spoken to, this person since then. And, we spoke roughly around the time that he was going to die. And just reading between the lines, it seemed like he was happy to be there, happy to be still alive. And he was picking up vegetables in his grandmother's garden, and it was around Thanksgiving weekend. And it was extraordinary that he sounded happy, and he was glad to be around with his grandparents.
Oh my gosh. There's another case that was all over X recently. Lauren Hove, Hoeve.
Yep.
She was in the Netherlands, a YouTube creator. She was then 27, and she took to her newly created blog, Brain Fog, to announce that she wanted to die. I saw her tweet earlier this year, was it? Yeah, it was this year or 23, I'm trying to remember. And it was shocking. It read, "This will be my last tweet. Thanks for the love, everyone. I'm going to rest a bit more and be with my loved ones. Enjoy a last morbid meme from me." The photo next to her post was labeled "Me Getting Euthanized," and it featured a child wearing sunglasses and lying on a gurney while giving a thumbs up. Soon thereafter, a doctor helped her, started an IV, put her in the coma, exactly what you're saying, that Zariah wants to happen to her. She was at home. She had her family there. And at 1:56 p.m. that day, she, at age 28, was pronounced dead. Lauren and Zariah both had something in common, and that's autism. And that makes this especially disturbing.
It is. And there's a third example of a recent case of a 28-year-old woman in Alberta here in Canada. She won a court. A court just ruled in her favor that she could go ahead and get euthanized because her father wanted to stop her from doing that. Guess what? She has autism. So and in the Netherlands too, an increasing number of people with autism are opting for euthanasia and are getting approved, and they have died recently. And it's, I think I've met adults who have autism, and they have gone on to live very fulfilling lives. They've had children, they're successful. I just never thought that autism would feel like a death sentence for people suffering from it. I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier, that increasingly the medical community in places where euthanasia is legal and assisted dying is legal, I think they're increasingly giving up on their patients. Society is
Yes.
giving up on these individuals. Society, we've gotten to a point where we're just not taking the time to speak to people who are suffering. It's everything is just fast paced. Everything has to have a quick solution. Everybody wants to be in control and in charge of everything that they do.
Well, and
One of
not
the
just that,
ironies,
but also the absurd push at every turn to be happy. Be happy. You have to be
absolutely.
happy, 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 happy. Abigail Schreier writes about this in her new book, Bad Therapy, about how
Yeah.
that this is the wrong directive. If you ask somebody, the average person, how many times in a week's period they feel genuine happiness, it's probably maybe 15% of their week. That's not a norm. We're not normally walking around skipping with a big smile like, I'm super happy. We're working hard, or we're focused, or sometimes we're stressed. Sometimes we're just sedentary. We're bored. We're entertained. But like the word happy might not apply. And even if it doesn't, even if you're more of like a sad person, sadness is an okay emotion. It's just we've deemed happiness to be this, it's an unattainable false idol to have it dominate your life for most people. And then we're slowly but surely demonizing people who have these disorders like autism. I know that Lauren also had ADHD. It's like, what's next with kids who have Down syndrome? Are we just going to, shove them right into the line? Because you know what? They're less than. This is just opening up such a dark door. With cyber attacks on the rise, protecting your data security is more important than ever. So why is Congress considering a bill that could put your credit card data at greater risk of being hacked and exposed to foreign networks? Our advertiser, the Electronic Payments Coalition, says the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill shifts billions in consumer spending to less secure payment networks, also that corporate megastores can make bigger profits. Find out more about the issue at electronicpaymentscoalition.org and decide for yourself if you would like to tell your senators to oppose the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.